More than 4 billion people live across this vast continent called Asia, and we are telling their stories. On this edition, perfectly good food that otherwise would have gone to waste are now being used to feed hungry people in India. And 6 decades after the launch of the world's first satellite, the world's first and largest operational space launch facility continues to support several generations of Russian spacecraft. I'm Michal Bardavid, and this is Assignment Asia. Welcome to the program. In India, as in most places, festivals and celebrations are marked by lavish preparations as well as the cooking and catering of vast amount of food. And with celebrations such as weddings sometimes lasting up to several days, most of the food is wasted and ends up in the rubbish bin. To tackle the problem, a few young engineers from South India have developed an app that allows their volunteers to quickly locate, collect, and distribute all those surplus tons of food, where they'd be quickly delivered to the thousands of homeless and hungry found in cities across the country. Steve Lunt checks out their resourceful work, which has proven to be beneficial and even life-saving.
Energized by social conscience, this team are on a mission to feed the hungry. Started in Coimbatore by 3 production engineering graduates, helped mainly by volunteers, the charity's aim is simple: saving food to save lives.
The main vision of No Food Waste is to reduce the quantity of food waste happening every day and to make the world hunger-free and to feed the needy people with the untouched edible excess foods recovered from various functions.
Dinesh and co-founder Padmanabhan plan operations and fundraising with their small team in this basic office provided by the city. When someone calls their hotline offering fresh food, they try to respond as quickly as an emergency service, knowing that wasted time means wasted food and losing a valuable chance to feed hungry people. So while Farnesh recruits volunteers to help collect and serve the food, Dinesh gets ready to hit the road and supervise their work. The team have just taken a call from a food donor, so now the race is on to fight the way through this heavy traffic in Coimbatore as quickly as possible and of course as safely as possible to make sure they collect the food while it's still fresh.
Certain people are ready to donate food, they are ready to share their excess food with the needy, but they are not ready to do it on their own. So they need a bridge between them. So they wanted us to come there to their place to collect the food and then to feed the needy.
Collecting food comes with pressure, as their perishable cargo is threatened by time and tropical heat, broken roads and chaotic traffic. And this is the next leg of the race, because the team have just collected several large containers of food from the wedding, and now they have to distribute it to the people who live in the dump yard, and to get it to them so they can eat it within 4 hours of the food having been cooked. And this is the very best part of the journey. It makes it all worthwhile, because good food that would otherwise have gone to waste is now being used to feed hungry people.
I am going to my children, hungry, very hungry. Sir, very good work, sir. This useful people. Here also a poor people. It's very useful with my family and members. These are very old people and no rich. Very poor. It's very good idea, very nice. This guy is very thankful for my area with very brilliant idea, very thankful.
Just on its 3rd year, the NGO can handle only 45% of donors' calls due to a lack of resources. With more storage, transport and volunteers, they could save and serve more food. The group often collects leftover food from weddings, which have become lavish affairs in India. Bollywood-sized budgets can turn couples into superstars of their own extravaganzas, with celebrations lasting several days. Dinesh says that every year in India there can be as many as 9 million weddings, and billions of dollars are spent on the catering.
The wedding family try to serve the guests with lot of number of varieties. The guests couldn't even count how many varieties are there in their banana leaf. Not even a man, single human can consume all the varieties served on his banana leaf. So ultimately the entire food goes to the dustbin. About So 30 to 40% of the food prepared for the human consumption in weddings, it goes to dustbin or landfills. The food waste happening is increasing day by day.
India has the world's largest undernourished population, according to the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization. Dinesh is appalled that so much food goes to waste, even as more than 190 million Indians go hungry every day.
It's actually going in a very unhealthy way. Spending millions of dollars for a day is it's wasteful. It's awful because it doesn't have any meaning. They are just showcasing their strength. In later 1990s, the weddings happened in a very small level with the participation of very close relationships, and it happened only in a very small budget. The weddings were organized only with the sole purpose of getting the blessings from the relationships. But currently, the entire wedding in the country has turned into a corporate model. So it's become a very big business now. So now the people are thinking that organizing a wedding in a very huge budget is like a pride, and then it's a showcase of their status to their relationships, friends, and even every people who are entering into the wedding hall.
After collecting surplus food from weddings and other social events, the team must then serve in challenging environments.
Drainage is the main problem. Due to the drainage, there are dengue and malarias. This is the main reason from that places. They are not cleaning the places. They have live in very poor condition in that slum areas. They are not aware of the dengue, malarias and many diseases. They are not aware, and they are not have proper education.
Coimbator's landfill is home to nearly 300 families who scavenge for a living. Just surviving is a struggle, so NFW volunteers bring them food.
In one day we delivered food to the slum areas. The one lady come and talk to me. Past 2 days I have no food. In today also we have no food, means I go to die. From your food only I live today. Yeah, it's make me very thoughtful. The words of the lady get me touched in the heart. So that only I conduct my works in No Food Waste organization. This is the main reason.
The team have developed an app that allows anyone to add a hunger spot through geotagging. It can route donors and volunteers directly to hunger spots nearest an event where food has been donated. Assuring communities that their free food is safe, Dhanesh checks hunger spots to ensure they're reaching the neediest people.
We ask the basic questions: how many people live in that area, and nearby schools and hospitals. In many slum areas they have not near hospitals or school.
Heavy traffic isn't the only obstacle slowing their progress.
Certain people who are not yet ready to share their excess food, what they prepared for consumption. They think that as a pride for them, if such quantity of food is coming out of their venue, such quantity of surplus food coming out of their venue, they are thinking that it is a negative for their own pride. We are also working on some motivational discussions with them.
All well educated, NFW's founders were expected to pursue lucrative careers. So an early challenge was to gain support from their anxious parents.
When we posted this idea in our family, they were shocked actually. So we made an idea of convincing them alternatively. I went to the home of the other two friends and then convinced their parents, and they came to my home and they convinced my parents. They started supporting us on seeing this goodness, on seeing the outcomes of the project, real outcomes of the project. It's feeding about 700 to 800 people on daily basis, and they are very happy now. They are also satisfied now. This is a really happy point. It started with the dissatisfaction initially from the family, and now it went to the satisfaction point. So
combining social media campaigns with visits to colleges and companies, the NFW team encouraged more support from potential volunteers, sponsors and food donors.
It all happened through such kind of good hearts and good persons who came forward to support us for the cause. So there are a lot of good hearts in this society. They are ready to support. Only they want some reliable points. Once we are reliable, once the project is reliable, they are ready to support.
After 3 years of concerted effort across 10 Indian cities, NFW teams can now feed more than 22,000 hungry people every month. So while most of their contemporaries prefer more comfortable corporate lifestyles, these pioneers are driven to stay different.
We decided not to work for money. Let's work for our passion. We should be passion driven, not money driven. If we went for money driven, then in some few years we will be drained. We'll be drained out of energy. We'll be drained out of our time. Now we are young. We are having a lot of energy. So why we want to invest this energy for someone else's idea? Let's invest this energy and time for our own idea, and let's invest it for the betterment of the society. So that's the major sole purpose of getting into this.
Despite the desperate scale of India's hunger, these young social entrepreneurs are determined to make a sustainable impact. Their NGO has already saved nearly 150 tons of food to feed almost 500,000 people.
We'll be with this forever. we have decided that this is our destiny, to bring some concrete solutions for the food waste and the hunger happening in the country. When you look at the face of a needy, when you look at the face of a hungry, when he is fed with the edible and nutritious food for the first time, so that satisfaction is right. It comes into you automatically, and it gives you a lot of energy to continue that work. So that came into us also.
Many observers believe India's hungry millions have often been forgotten or largely ignored by officials and the higher castes. So Dinesh hopes their work will inspire more affluent Indians to join the fight against hunger. For Assignment Asia, I'm Steve Lunt in Coimbatore, India.
Despite their modest beginnings, No Food Waste has now expanded its operations to not just places within the state of Tamil Nadu, but also including Andhra Pradesh. Their next step will be to provide nutritious food to the hungry, but also to come up with innovative solutions on reducing food waste. Next on Assignment Asia. Living in a city where the launch of a space shuttle is a daily affair. In early December 2018, a Russian Soyuz rocket carrying a new crew for the International Space Station was launched into orbit. Nothing unusual except that a similar launch failed and was aborted just 2 months earlier. The event took place in southwest Kazakhstan at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, which has often been described as the Russian equivalent of NASA's Kennedy Space Center. I recently visited Baikonur to find out what it is like to live in a city which has gone down in history for launching the first human into space. An anxious crowd awaits in the dark hours of the night as the countdown is about to begin. On the large screen set in the middle of the field, we see the live feed of the cockpit of a Soyuz rocket. The launch is about to begin. Silence. Followed by a shattering roar and liftoff. An extraordinary event indeed. But for the town of Baikonur in southern Kazakhstan, it's just another ordinary day. This region was the site of a world-changing event, the successful launch of the first artificial satellite that entered Earth's orbit in 1957, the Sputnik 1. It was launched by the former Soviet Union from the town of Baikonur.
Когда мы приехали сюда, мы уже в начальных классах услышали о первом полете космонавта Юрия Гагарина. Это была гордость для нашего Советского Союза. Тогда весь Советский Союз ликовал, конечно.
And since then, the town has largely been defined by rockets. But if it weren't for the Cosmodrome, the world's first and largest operational space launch facility, it is hard to imagine that some of the world's most sophisticated technologies were being used just a short distance away. The city is rented and administered by the Russian Federation from Kazakhstan, which frequently launches rockets from the Baikonur Cosmodrome spaceport. But according to Yekaterina Mostovaya, a journalist who wrote on Baikonur, the special rented status creates an issue.
В этой ситуации это нечто очень похожее. Арендодатель, он постоянно приходит и следит за ее состоянием. Но, естественно, человек, который ее снимает, он не особо заинтересован в том, чтобы ее сохранить в хорошем состоянии. Ну, возможно, только если в случае, если это очень такой ответственный.
The contrast between the Cosmodrome and the town of Baikonur is so tangible that while the space shuttle gives one the impression it can travel to the future, taking a walk on the streets of Baikonur can feel like traveling back in time. Voltov is the manager of one of the few restaurants that serves an international cuisine.
А у нас это как обыденность, если честно, мы даже иногда не знаем, когда они происходят, что это как обыденное, то есть как каждодневное, как на остановку на автобус сесть. Ну, ракета улетела, ну и хорошо, все нормально, нормально, все. Бывает, что даже и не, живешь и не знаешь, что был пуск.
The location of Baikonur is ideal for rocket launches for several reasons.
Близость к экватору, непосредственно близость к экватору. Второе – это количество солнечных дней, их более 300 в году. Третье – это непосредственно те районы падения отделяющихся частей ракетоносителей, первые и вторые ступени, обтекатели, непосредственно падают по трассе полета, выведения, значит, по трассе полета ракетоносителя, именно по территории Казахстана, именно в тех местах, где нету фактически населения бескрайней нашей степи Казахстана.
The mayor of the city believes that the Cosmodrome has been beneficial for the town's residents.
Все образование находится в городе, и все те, кто проживает, о чем я раньше говорил до этого, про население близлежащих районов, образование получают здесь. У нас техникумы, институты, высшие учебные заведения на базе МАИ, Восход, техникумы, училища, поэтому здесь школы, опять-таки, колледжи, лицеи.
A large proportion of the Baikonur population works at the Cosmodrome, where they feel the benefits of working for a well-paid job, earning much more than they would be at a job outside the space station. Many are glad the Cosmodrome was built here. But the ones not working at the Cosmodrome, who don't enjoy the perks of a Russian passport and a high-paying job, don't exactly share the sentiment. The inequality has created tension between Russian and Kazakh locals.
В договоре между двумя государствами. Вот. И либо нас всех передать, как бы, Российской Федерации, чтобы у нас все льготы одинаковые были, чтобы обиды не было.
Feruza says Kazakh citizens don't receive the same benefits as Russians in Baikonur.
По закону получается, что мы, граждане РК, мы, например, не можем получить, работаем в Российской организации, не можем получить кредит, например, в Каспи банке, в Холм-кредите.
There is also untapped potential for tourism, as many are interested in witnessing rocket launches, especially ones that are piloted. The preparation process includes a unique ceremony, as priests visit the rocket a day before the launch and offer their blessings. Later, the astronauts or cosmonauts share their thoughts in a press conference before they wave goodbye to their loved ones. An emotional experience for sure. Yet for now, only few tourists are lucky enough to visit this closed city, as getting permission from Russian authorities is not an easy process. However, the city mayor aims to change that.
Огромный потенциал, конечно же, туризм, это в принципе одна из основных сейчас сфер, быстро развивающихся в городе. На сегодняшний день у нас в принципе немало, 7 гостиниц представлена городская среда, но в проектах у нас и строительство новых гостиниц, и новые маршруты туристические.
But for some of the locals living in Baikonur and nearby towns, living in the shadow of a space station is not as magical as some would imagine. Aside from the social inequalities, risks involved in space programs are constantly on their minds. When it comes to launching rockets weighing hundreds of tons, carrying enormous amounts of fuel, there are certainly risks involved. Several launch failures took place in the 90s, creating health risks and ecological disaster potentials.
Те ракетоносители, которые использовались на космодроме Байконур и в настоящее время еще пока используются, те стартовые комплексы, которые создавались на космодроме Байконур под различные виды ракетоносителей, используют в своем, соответственно, используют именно то ракетное топливо, которое является фактически ядовитым.
Firuza was in Baikonur when a rocket crashed shortly after liftoff in July 2013.
Мы спали, утром это было, мы спали, и как раз-таки народ отправляли домой, и один из них позвонил нам, чтобы мы срочно закрыли форточку. И по телевизору все это передавали, чтобы мы закрыли форточки, не выходили, что магазины все будут закрыты. Но мы испуг чувствовали, естественно, мы боялись.
The crash led to a large spill of heptil, a toxic rocket propellant. The Kazakh government asked for a $90 million compensation from Moscow. Though there are no medical records to prove it, locals say many medical problems occurred due to the high toxic levels in the city.
Рождаются с патологией, да, но по сравнению с 2015 годом, в 2016 году лучше. Статистика как бы показывает. Ну, в 2013 году многие, значит, беременные женщины, они потеряли детей своих вот из-за взрыва и из-за гептила.
However, Russian officials disagree.
Я слышал, когда еще ехал сюда работать, что здесь проблемы с экологией, что здесь везде все плохо, воздух плохой, вода плохая, жить нельзя и так далее. Вот здесь уже 3 месяца живу, и я скажу, что очень хорошо. Во всяком случае, извиняюсь, во всяком случае перейди, что никаких официальных подтверждений было каких служб о каких-то опасностях у нас нету официальных. Это одни разговоры.
Nevertheless, Kazakh officials say some precautionary measures are being taken.
Фактически данное топливо гептил является ядовитым для человека, и с целью ухода, как бы, отказа от данного топлива, от этих видов ракет, соответственно, российской стороной были, по предложению казахстанской стороны, были предприняты определенные шаги. Такие ракетоносители, как «Циклон», были уже приостановлены их запуски.
Despite the dangers of the debris, one man from Switzerland sees them as something beneficial. On the arid steppes of Kazakhstan, Patrick Hoffman goes scavenging. He's on the lookout for rocket debris.
When I first went into the steppe, that was an amazing moment. Because to be there, I mean, to know the rocket is launched. Now, to be in the steppe, to wait for the rocket, to find it in front of you, the steppe is still burning amidst, you can still smell the kerosene on the rocket.
Patrick Hoffman is an entrepreneur who has found a creative way to use the rocket material that falls back on Earth. He uses parts of the debris to make high-quality Swiss watches. For him, the town of Baikonur is where magic happens, as it brings humanity closer to space.
Space for me is something we can't reach, or only the astronauts. And we on Earth, we have such a limited perception. And when you go to space and look back to Earth, you realize how small our planet is, how beautiful our planet is, and how big space and the universe. So it can change your mind, or the way you think.
The Baikonur Cosmodrome is a place that brings nations together, even those in conflict with one another. It allows different countries to cooperate and even send their finest men together in joint space explorations. A historic location for man's discoveries. Yet for the locals living here, much more of that technological breakthrough needs to be translated into their own daily lives. Under the current Russian administration, the country is looking into reviving some of its space accomplishments under the Soviet era. An ambitious new spaceport in Russia's Far East, the Baikonur Cosmodrome, is now partly operational. The new facility is expected to reduce the country's dependency on Baikonur, which is currently on lease to Russia until 2050 at a cost of approximately $115 million per year. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm Michal Bardavid in Istanbul. Thanks for watching and join us again on Assignment Asia. Share your thoughts and contribute story ideas for future shows by contacting us on social media.